This is a Tortoise slow motion switch machine from Circuitron. I'm using them to remote control my turnouts on MRR2, and today I'm going to show you how to install them on your benchwork. And yes, the layout's on its side. A Tortoise slow motion switch machine, it uses a stall motor and a large gear ratio to slowly throw a turnout one direction or the other. When the turnout's close to one point or the other, the motor will stall, and that stall will hold the points in place until it swings to the other direction. Tortoise switch machines are mounted underneath the layout and use a very thin metal rod that goes up through the benchwork and connects to the turnout, which is what throws it back and forth. And that is what we are doing today. When you get a Tortoise switch machine, you get four parts. You get the motor itself, then you get a metal rod, which you'll need to bend. There is a guide in the instructions to bend it. It's really easy, I promise. Then there's a screw that you'll put in just below where you insert the rod that will hold it in place. And there's also a little plastic slide that's going to adjust the angle that your Tortoise switch machine can throw back and forth to. And that's good for adjusting when you actually get it in there to fine tune it on the turnout. To assemble the Tortoise switch machine, I have found that it's easiest to bend the rod by sticking it in the little hole that it's going to and then simply bending it with your thumb. Then you slide the adjustment piece right over it. And then last but not least, you take the screw and you screw it into the hole, and voila, you're ready to install your Tortoise switch machine. The motor that is in these things moves slowly so that it looks more realistic than, say, snap switches, and also since they are under the table, they are completely hidden and don't ruin any illusions of reality that you are trying to achieve. Okay, I've got my layout up on its side so it's a little bit easier to show you guys. Also, perks of a small layout right here. I got my Tortoise switch motor, I've got my marker for marking where I'm going to need to drill holes to install this thing, and I've got my hole right here that I drilled in the last video when I installed the track. If you haven't watched that video, go ahead and pause it and go right there. I'll put a time code link in the description below so you can go right to that spot. So we're going to go ahead and put this in, and when I look through here, I can actually see the little hole that the little pin wire has to go through to go into the turnout and be able to activate it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fish it through. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you're lined up in the middle and have the turnout lined up in the middle as well. So we're going to go ahead and fish it through. Make sure we are in. Okay, now you want to do a few little pushes back and forth, and you just want to make sure that your turnout is throwing properly when you do this. So, and make sure that it has enough force to be able to hold the turnout points where they are. We're not obviously going to drill all the way through the layout. We just want to put a little bit of a hole in there so that the Tortoise can have the proper mount point. So we're just going to take our Sharpie, mark it. And there we go. We now have 4 nice marks. Now I test the turnout by throwing it back and forth nice and slow just to make sure that it is throwing everything properly, and then I do any adjustments that are necessary. The last thing I need to do is trim off the excess of the metal rod, and I'm using rail cutters to do that. That is what I found works the best. And then a few more test throws just to make sure that it throws properly. I've got 3 of these things in so far. I've got 2 more to install, so I'm going to get through that. If you want to see how to control it, there's several ways to set up controls for this. I've done it with an Arduino. I'm going to link that video right here at the end. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.